that damn trooper!
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon, as we're going to have plenty of things to talk about here on this Tuesday. We're going to have a little What to Watch For, presented by Bryant Technologies. We'll have a Vibe Check the Chat, presented by our friends at Basis Health. We'll have Who Our Heavy Hitters Are, presented by HD Roofing and Construction. Have your Alumni Hall question of the day. And, of course, get into all the buy or sell action presented by our friends over at BetSaracen. So a lot of things that we'll be getting into today. We'll have some basketball, some baseball talk, and some football, and some overall athletic discussion. But fellas, how we feeling here on this Tuesday?
Pretty good, man. Chilling. Got my got one eye on the NBA draft combine stuff, and another eye here on Inside Arkansas Live. So if you have two eyes, that's two good things to be looking at if you're a Razorback fan nowadays.
Yeah, it's amazing how we always have things that we have to monitor every single minute. Like no matter what month of the season it is, no matter what basketball, baseball, football, we always have things that we can keep our eye on. And we're always here to bring the good gospel to the people. And that's what we love to do. And it's a great day to do it here on this beautiful Tuesday.
Yeah, it is. It's actually, the weather's actually getting warmer. See, it's going to be the 80s and everything. Hopefully the weather actually ends up being okay for the baseball series this weekend, but we'll see how it goes. But either way, yeah, the weather's looking good. And we're going to get to all of that. And we'll have your discussions, of course, thrown around. So if you want to get in on the chat, getting close to that 10,000 subscriber mark, like dangerously close even, one would say. And once that happens, we're going to have a cool announcement for everybody that is a part of it, and have a really cool piece of content, but also have some cool stuff to be able to get everybody else involved in. It's going to be a little bit different, though. It's not going to be exactly like the Razorback Raffle that was officially announced today. I know that this has been a discussion for months, it seems like, when it comes to how the University of Arkansas was going to handle the Razorback Raffle, or the raffle in general. We know in this state there's been ongoing negotiations. We've had Carlton Safa from BetSaracen and Saracen Casino Resort joining us on this show, talking about what they wanted, and also from the other side of it. And we know that the state of Arkansas decided to rule in favor of what this current setup would be, and it was going to be ran by the universities of doing this raffle. Kept wondering when it was going to be announced. Well, here it is. It officially announced this morning, where they put out the press release that it is a charitable initiative conducted to support University of Arkansas Department of Athletics and its student athletes. The Razorback Raffle offers fans an exciting way to support the University of Arkansas athletics program, whether they're cheering on the Hogs in person or remotely, where the debut is right now. The Razorback Raffle, in conjunction with the baseball home series against Tennessee, and fans may begin purchasing online chances for inaugural raffle beginning now, with the jackpot awarded during the final game of the series on May 17th. So we'll talk about the ins and outs of all this stuff, guys, but obviously, this was something we knew was coming, but now that it's here, what are our thoughts on the official announcement and the debut of the Razorback Raffle?
Oh man, I'll go with the 40,000 foot view, because I know we'll dive deeper into some specifics. I'm glad that it's up and running. It's funny to me that it comes at the very last opportunity to do this during the athletic calendar, like the last home series and event. But maybe that serves as a good test run. You know what I mean? Like, I know there's stuff you got to figure out before you can launch something like this, but it's just like the joking side of it's a very Arkansas thing to happen here. But I think, if you understand it for what it is, then you can find value in it. But I do think it could be pretty easy to get misled on it all. It's not a situation where the funds here go directly to NIL. It's, pretty clearly put out there that it could go to a lot of different causes there to support the athletic department, just not necessarily that part of it. But no, the website looks easy enough to use. There's going to be some kinks that they have to work out, and some things that they have to tweak and fix, just like anything that you launch. But no, I'm anxious to talk about it and dive into the weeds here with you guys.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, Curtis. Like, this is a good thing, no doubt about it. Hell, just for me personally, like, I don't know about you guys. When y'all go to big league ball games, like, y'all do the 50-50 raffle, right? You got to, just to make sure you don't win whatever it is.
You never know.
Yeah. You never know. Curtis, I swear there was one time at Busch, I was like, I'm winning it. Like this, I got it tonight. There was like 12 people in attendance. I was like, I got this one. No, did not work out that way, but it's always fun to do stuff like this. And look, any money that you can generate for your athletic department is a good thing. And so, yeah, that's cool. But Curtis, you touched on it. I want to read this little excerpt here just to make it clear, because I think when we talked about this with Carlton Safa back in August, and we talked about it a few times. We talked about it on the show a ton since leading up. We felt like we were talking about this dream of how this could be this complete game changer. And if they do it right and they do it with Saracen, like they can really pull this off and make it a massive thing that would change Arkansas's placement in the NIL game. This is absolutely not that. This is a step maybe in that direction, which is better than nothing, but it is not that. It says the winner will receive half of the jackpot from the week-long campaign raffle sales, with the remaining proceeds contributing to the Razorback Foundation's ongoing efforts to support Razorback athletics and our student athletes. So that is a little bit of a vague statement there, but what it is not is this is going to help us in the NIL department, which I think is what people, big picture, the reason we talked about this is because we thought it might be such a big, groundbreaking move in that front. And this is just not that, but it is still a cool thing.
Yeah. Listen, I think that when I say we, us three especially, tried to go into each and one of these issues with an open mind and look at it from all angles and all perspectives. Because I think that when it's something as nuanced as this and something as new as this and something that is ever changing, ever evolving, like NIL is, like the college athletic landscape in general, you got to look at it from all sides. And I think that us, when, we've had Carlton on and we've talked about what his side was, and we talked about from the other side, we try to look at it all in all ways, shapes, and forms. And again, shout out to Daniel Shee, because I think Daniel Shee's done a really good job of covering a lot of this and being very fair and very objective with it. And I think he's done a really good job with it. But if you look at it just from the surface level of what this is, it's pretty much laid out to you. And of course, according to the official press release here, it just tells you, okay, well, what's it going to go to? You already mentioned Razorback Foundation to help student athletes. So it's not going towards the Arkansas Edge. That needs to be made clear. It's not going to an NIL collective. It's going toward the Razorback Foundation, which, of course, is getting prepared and ready for the revenue sharing that is inevitably going to be passing in July for that $20.5 million. So that's important to know. How much your tickets cost? You get 5 tickets for $10, 25 tickets for $20, 100 tickets for $50, 300 tickets for $100. How many tickets can you purchase? There's a maximum of $250 per transaction that you can use on raffle, and you can pay through credit card or debit card. You must be 18 years or older to do that, as well as being located in the state of Arkansas, which Carlton's already pointed out. The only way that you say that you verify you're 18 is just by clicking a box saying, hey, don't worry, trust me, I'm 18. So already a thing there. But where can you buy it? You go to razorbackraffle.com. And then, of course, it'll announce it and have an update of how much it's sitting at each and every, second of the day. And it's just like any other raffle. And yes, it's going to be taxed. No, you do not have to be present to win. The odds of winning are just depending on how many people are jumped into it. So as far as the game itself, I think most people who understand how a raffle works, it's pretty much the same concept. It's just, hey, however many tickets you got, it's going to cost you more. But hey, cost you more means you have a better chance of winning. And the more you pay in, the more other people pay in, the higher the number goes. I think it's a pretty basic concept. It's about the underlying things, the fine print that I think people really have to understand and really make sure that they are fully engaged with what this is, where it's going, what it's going to be treated as, and also what the future of this holds. Is it going to be something that is around for a while, that's going to be successful, that is going to be promoted, or is it something that is going to be like the Arkansas Edge, where it was announced and then just kind of left there to fight for itself?
Yeah. I mean, I think this weekend will be a good test run for it, and then hopefully they'll have all summer, honestly, to make some changes and promote it, like all those things that they need to do. Will they do it? We'll see. But I'm anxious to see what the end game looks like from this first one, which is always going to get like the opening day bump kind of thing. But nevertheless, and the way I see it here, and I could be wrong. I don't think I am though. I read a story over at Best of Arkansas Sports. Andrew Hutchinson got a chance to talk to Hunter at the Razorback Roadshow thing in Bentonville, and he asked him a bunch of questions. It's a good story. I gotta go check it out. He's talking about Remy Cofield and his responsibilities and filling out his staff. But then he was talking about all the preparations that they're going through to get ready for rev share and increasing in scholarships. And there's like $25 million that they're trying to come up with here that they've got to pay out for the 25-26 athletic calendar. And he's talking about how, they didn't give the athletic department employees the cost of living raise that you get every year because they're, like they need those funds, and they're waiting on certain things. The reseeding at Bud Walton Arena, which I touched on the pod at the Palace this morning, that, those proceeds are kind of going towards that to help that, bridge that gap. You've got the 3% concessions thing, like there's a number of different things there that are going on. And this is something that could serve as another vehicle towards getting them to that number. And there's an interesting quote in there in that story from Hunter, where he said, if we want to remain competitive in the SEC, we've got to share that $20.5 million revenue, just like everyone else in the league is. If we fall short of that, we're going to be fighting an uphill battle to remain competitive in our sports. So this is them trying to reach that barometer, and it's an opportunity for you, if you choose to help towards that cause. And it can go towards that, and it can go towards maintenance and all those other things that John pointed out there. But this is not the vehicle for a competitive advantage and that increase in NIL that we were kind of hoping for as it was initially presented to us when Carlton and all those other guys were involved. So that's kind of the way I see this here.
And that's kind of what, I don't want to say our frustration is, because, ultimately, like, there's a lot that goes into these things. There's a lot of moving parts. It's a lot easier said than done. It's a lot easier for us to sit on a microphone and be like, hey, they need to get this done and make this much money. There's a lot that goes into it. So I want to give them some, I guess, benefit of the doubt. But I think that's what we've been saying from the jump, is that it sucks they're not doing this in a way that could really be a huge driver in changing Arkansas' standing. And that's just, again, I think the messaging that I think the fan base, for the people that are listening that are like, why the hell are y'all talking about this raffle? It's because, again, we thought at the beginning there might be a chance for this to be some type of big move, and to kind of hear it point blank said that, hey, this is not that. Like, we're just going to kind of try and make some money to keep the lights on and do what we got to do. Like, that's a little bit discouraging. But, you mentioned how this is kind of the guinea pig, because you're going to have, this is your last athletic weekend, at least, where fans are going to be there other than postseason and stuff like that, basically until September. And so they kind of have all summer to figure this out. I'm going to be interested to see what that final number is. I think right before we went on the show, we were saying the winner would receive, at the where it's at now, and it's been live for whatever 3 or 4 hours, would win, a little under 5K or whatever. And we're like, all right, where that number is going to end up. Because again, when you're talking about the athletic department, you're talking about a 20 point whatever revenue sharing bill. Is $10,000 going to really like move the needle that much? And that's another part, is it feels like there's a very definitive ceiling on this thing, but this is a baseball series. And of course there's a lot going on. There's a lot of excitement, but I think they're going to look at this number and say, all right, we made X amount with baseball and it helped. All right, that was cool. But now we have football coming up. We have all summer to tweak this thing. How much can we really do? And so I do think the results of this are going to be interesting, because like we said, it's kind of the guinea pig to see what the market is for something like this, see how much fans get behind it, how invested people are, both literally and just figuratively. And so we'll see if this is kind of the start. I think this is a step in the right direction. It's just a very, very minuscule step in the right direction. And we're hoping for those big boy moves.
As of 12:15 p.m., the current jackpot is $9,180, and the estimated prize that you would win is $4,590, subject to tax.
There you go. Yeah. And, just again, some of the stuff that you got to look up and to look at into this, because I still have a lot of questions, and some of it I can get answered. Some of them, we may never get an answer to. And, looking at pros and cons of what this is. And I agree. It's not going to hurt the University of Arkansas's bottom line. It's not going to hurt NIL. It's not going to hurt anything. But it's a matter of, are you getting to the point to where, what Hunter said in that quote, this is what we have to do. These are the things we have to do in order to remain competitive. Okay. If that's the case, my question becomes, once again, are you that far behind all these other SEC programs then? Because not every SEC program's having to do this. Is it something like that? Is it because you've refused to promote the collective and promote the Arkansas Edge that this is your gateway to it? This is your way that you can make it happen? Because it just seems like they have been, and maybe it's like this in other states and in other teams. This is the team I cover. This is the team we talk about every day. So who knows exactly because it may be common, but I just look at it to where I don't think I've seen any other school program, especially in the SEC, comparatively speaking, who has referenced the revenue sharing as kind of like the just got to make it to that point. And once we do, it's all going to be good, more so than Arkansas. Arkansas is looking at that 20 million revenue share thing as almost like, hey, let's just stay on water here. And then once that happens, everything's going to be evened out and it's going to be fine. I don't feel like I've heard many other schools or ADs or anybody discuss that as if it's some sort of white knight coming in to save the day and it's going to make everything just fine. I still think there are some major questions that need to be asked because, for instance, you have it to where, you're wondering where the money is going to go. Well, the things that are laid out into the purposes that can be used, and this isn't from Arkansas Razorbacks.com, this is from the official bill that was signed into play. I mean, it could go towards almost anything pretty much. I mean, we're talking about even purchase, maintenance, repair, debt services, or construction of the institutions of higher education, collegiate athletic property, facilities, and equipment. I mean, they can put it towards anything. So when you put this in there, you have no idea where it's going to go. Like for instance, the Bud Walton Arena renovations, which I think we all agree is probably something that needs to be done. But say if they have all this money coming in and with this raffle, is it going to be the priority of, well, we got this linebacker over here we could really use and get on the team. However, the Bud Walton Arena renovations need to come like, what's going to get the priority here? What's going to be your focus and your main objective with this money? You can use it for other things and you need to use it for other things, but is it going to be the priority of paying off your debts, doing facility work, all of that? Or is your main priority going to be like, all right, NIL first, and then after all that, then we'll alleviate and put it out there towards the other things too? That to me is going to be the ultimate question we'll never get an answer to. But one of the things that people have to consider when doing this and looking at this is that it could go to anything and it could not go to NIL if they wanted it to. Not saying it will, but if they wanted it to, it just could go to what they want it to go to.
Yeah, I really want to. In fact, I'm going to do that. I'm going to reach out to just some folks that cover at these other SEC schools and just to get a better feel for what those conversations are, right? Because you're spot on, John. It's like we cover the Razorback, like we're entrenched with this every day. So maybe we're just hearing it more because we're more, we're deeper in there. We're in the trenches, man. But yeah, it is interesting. And I don't know, like I keep referring to this article from Hutch, but he interviewed Juracek, and it's good stuff. It's good reporting there. And just the way that it reads, like him detailing some of the budget cuts that they're doing there. It just, and I'm not even talking about the raffle so much now, as it just kind of screams like, well, what's the situation really like over there? Because it says between revenue sharing and the increase in scholarships that would come, they're having to come up with about 25 million for next year. So it's the 20 and a half plus what the scholarships are going to cost them. And one of the things your check is doing is cutting back the athletic department expenses. So it's the operating budgets for every sport. The department's employees are not getting the cost of living adjustment raises, which we hinted at, and the merit-based salary increases that other university employees are due to receive. So like other departments are getting them, but like the athletic department's not right now. And on top of that, incentive bonuses, so things that are in the contracts of these coaches or staff members or whatever that would have already been paid out otherwise are being withheld until June 30th, which is the final day of the fiscal year, just to make sure they have enough money to pay them out. That's that just strikes me as a little bit alarming, and I'm sure some of it's contextual, but it's like Hunter says in the quote, like he says, I feel like I'm the least liked person probably across our department because we're having to fix a $21 million problem. Here he is calling it a problem. So we're doing that by reducing expenses. We're making sacrifices internally. So you can tell by making those sacrifices internally, maybe my staff's not as happy as they normally would be with that. Again, you've got to do what you got to do. And I don't know if Ole Miss or Florida or Tennessee or whoever is doing some of these same things and dealing with these things, but just the way that it reads, it's like at the bare minimum, we know this is something that is not coming easy for the University of Arkansas.
Well, John, you raised the question of like, what's going to be the priority? Is it going to be just paying university athletic department funds, or is it, paying, NIL and all that? I think you get a pretty clear and definitive answer with some of the messaging you hear there. And the, what was the quote where he said, remain competitive and all that? Like that doesn't scream, we're about to up the bag for our student athletes. It screams, we got a bunch of bills to pay. And I just want everybody to, again, and I don't want to give us too much credit here, but like, we've kind of seen this for a while. It was 5 months ago. Sam Pittman did that press conference where he said, we're going to crush it in the portal. I'm paraphrasing here. He said, we're going to crush it in the portal. Revenue sharing, I think, is going to help us be more. He literally, Sam Pittman used that. And he was like, it's going to help us. Like, we're going to be more competitive because we're going to be able to compete with some of these top teams. He did say that. And like, we can go back and pull up the clip. Maybe I will after the show. But like, that was a thing that the revenue sharing was cited as a reason for why Arkansas was optimistic in the portal. And here we are 5 months later, and the athletic director is calling it a problem. And by the way, he's not wrong for calling. Like, I understand Arkansas has to do this. Yeah. Everyone has to. But that's why all along we said, why is revenue sharing going to change your space in where you rank in the SEC? Like, what is going to set you apart? Why is this going to help you? We asked those questions, and we're called haters for asking those questions. Now here we are 5 months later, and the AD is coming out and saying, yeah, this revenue sharing thing does not help us. It does not help us pay our bills to keep the lights on in the university, but it also is not going to help us in the NIL department. And like you said, John, NIL is a very, very low priority on the totem pole whenever you've got a few other things to take care of just within your own athletic department, let alone the student athletes.
Yeah. And that's like, again, we're all on the same page here. The language that was used, I haven't read that article from Hutch, and I'm glad you brought it up, Curtis, because that makes me feel even worse. That makes me feel even worse about everything. And, I have heard stuff, which I even hesitate to say these days, because good grief. I mean, people are, hearing a lot of things, but, the financial side of things, my question, and I remember talking about this on Lockdown. I think we talked about it on here, but I'm like, where's the money going? Like you are in the SEC. You have all of the media rights that comes in. And I know that has to pay for travel and all of that. Like, I get it. It's not just like funny money you can play around with. But if everybody in the SEC is getting the same cuts of how much money's coming in from the SEC, bowl money, all of that, and also you, the university, have a Razorback Foundation. You have some pretty big donors. You have been known to have like people that are very supportive of the program. All of this stuff. Not to mention the fact that you have one of the lowest paid coaching staffs in football in the SEC, comparatively speaking. No one got any raises. Nobody is having to get paid for buyouts because they got fired. I guess maybe Mike Neighbors is, but it was still, comparatively speaking, pretty low. But that has been my question. Okay, if all of that's true, and I'm looking at it from a third-party perspective, then where's the money? Why are you in such a desperate situation? How did you get to this desperate situation? That's the question I'd want to ask Hunter Yurachek, or at least the administration, is how did this happen? Because I don't think that this is just every school has this issue where they're like, man, we got to get to this point or else we're going to die. I don't think anybody has that desperation side. So how did it get to this point financially where no money is being spent? And on top of that, you're acting like we're losing money. It sounds like you're in debt. It sounds like you're broke. That's what it sounds like. And if that's the case, how did that happen? That's my question. Again, I don't know if we'll get answers to it, but some of the language and some of the communication on some of this stuff has really made me worried. And that article from Hutch did not calm my nerves a little bit at all when it comes to the concerns I have. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'd love to know if I'm wrong. I'd love to admit that I'm wrong, but it's just concerning to me that a major athletic program in the SEC like Arkansas seems to be broke. That's the only vibe I get, is they are broke. So,
well, yeah, I mean, and maybe they were operating okay until this bill got put on them, and they weren't prepared for it, which being reactive instead of proactive would be expected, given some of the recent history there. But this is why they're doing the things that they're doing. I mean, this is why this is the thing. It's designed to help. This is why, we mentioned like the 3% deal. It's designed to help with this. The reseeding thing at Bud Walton Arena is designed to help with this. Like, that's why they're doing all these things. The budget cuts are designed to help with this. Bleeding a little bit to try to get there. It's so that, and yeah, it is concerning, but if you want to feel better, John, apparently the reseeding at Bud Walton Arena is going really well. According to Hunter Yurachek, that the renewal deadline is more than a month away still. They've received requests for more than 10,000 season tickets. They've added 1,000 new members to the Razorback Foundation. That comes with an $8 million increase to their annual fund, plus an additional $4 million contributed in positioning gifts towards better seat location in Bud Walton Arena. So there's a nice chunk of change right there.
Okay. So then what's the issue here then? Like if that, and I agree, because I know I've talked to people in the foundation, it is going really well and that's awesome. Like it really is. I'm truly like glad that that's working. But on top of all that, okay, so what's the issue here then? Shouldn't that $8 million or whatever be like, hey, this should be great, dude. We're going to have a great amount of money. That's better than what we thought it would be. Oh, no, it still comes across as almost like, well, that's good now, but we still need a lot more to kind of get up to here. It's I don't know, man.
We don't know how much they have. We don't know how much they need. We do know that they need to do this every year.
Yeah.
So it's not just like a one-time deal either. For me, it's not, it's more about where are you standing relative to your peers? That's the concern for me. Yep. It's not even that big of a deal to me. Like if this is it's like a damn man, we're struggling with this. Like we're having to really make some cuts and pull some strings and do all these different things. It's like, all right, well, fine. I mean, you got to do whatever you got to do to get to this number, but is everyone else doing that? That's what I want to know. And that maybe that's the only way I could get a little bit of comfort.
And so you mentioned the relative to your peers, and I think that's the part. And again, there's probably a lot of people that are listening that we are ball knower, ball talkers. We would love to just simply talk ball, but this side of the coin is such a big part of the equation, and that's always been the case. Even before NIL was a thing, making money is always the goal of every athletic department. At the end of the day, Hunter Yurichek's job as the athletic director at Arkansas is to just basically turn a profit on the entire program, or all the programs combined. Obviously, you're going to rely on football a lot, but it's to make as much money as possible. And so it is kind of part of the equation. And I know that we don't like to talk about that kind of stuff often, but it sucks because you just want to, at the end of the day, as a Razorback fan, you're going to have your years in each sport and you're going to have your ups and your downs, but you just want to know at the end of the day that the coaches and players and the people involved in the athletic department are doing everything they can to make Arkansas the best possible athletic department, the most successful, competing for as many championships as possible, really trying to compete with the best of the best in the SEC. That's just what you want to believe when you put your head on your pillow at night. And it sucks because, like, obviously that's a simplistic way to view it, because there's a lot more that goes into it than just trying to win. But it does kind of suck to be hit with that reality that, like, this athletic department, winning is obviously what they want to do. I'm not saying the athletic department's not trying to win, but they have a lot of priorities that they need to kind of figure out. And there's a lot of these weird conversations, and it's tough to know for sure that Arkansas, especially in the football department, is putting themselves in the best possible position to win, because they have so many other pressing needs that have nothing to do with the product on the field that they are trying to take care of. And those, like, you talked about priorities earlier, John. Those kind of are the priorities right now. And so, look, when football season comes around and portal season rolls around and we want to talk about, hey, can Arkansas go after this wide receiver that's a 5-star or whatever? It's like, dude, we got to pay the light bill, man. We can't get players. Like, players are like, NIL is so far, I think Hunter used the term back burner when he was talking about the renovation for Bud Walton Arena. NIL is on, like, whatever the third, if you have your 4 burners right here, there's like a separate stove somewhere in the basement. That's where NIL is right now. And so it's tough to, like, have these conversations and be like, yeah, can Arkansas make these strides and become closer and closer to being one of the best football programs in the country? It's like, that's not even on the agenda right now, brother.
Yeah. It's like it's like the toaster oven that's way in the back that you forgot about, and the toast is burnt, and it's just like, what's that smell? I mean, that's how far it is. And that's, like, again, we'll get to your chat, because there's a lot of stuff I know a lot of you have reactions to on this. But the last thing I just wanted to say too, when I say the last thing, we'll talk more, but it goes back to the priorities of everything, in the communication of everything. I know that, we speak for a living, this is what we do. We do podcasts, we do live streams and everything. We speak for a living. And as a communication major myself in U of A, 7.5 years, obviously I'm very well versed in the communication department, but that to me is what has maybe caused more harm than good, has been just the lackadaisical, non-intentional, non-urgent communication. It's just, I could be wrong about everything that I am saying right now. I could be 100% wrong. And I could have been 100% wrong about all of this for the past few months. but there has been nothing communicated at all that has changed really anything. And I'm not saying that every time I have an opinion that, Hunter Yurchek needs to come out on Twitter or whatever and make a statement being like, well, John's wrong and here's why. I'm not saying that. But it just feels like there's a lot of the people that share these same concerns, these same issues, these same criticisms, the same everything. And it's just like you're not even communicated with what's going on. If there was just a little humility in all of this, and maybe this is what they're trying to avoid. And maybe I'm stupid for even thinking this. But if the problems were as bad as what they seem to be when it comes to finances, when it comes to NIL and all that stuff, I would actually respect and appreciate more if you're a checker, whoever, doesn't matter who it is, whoever comes out and says, listen, we're in a bad way, guys. We're in a bad way. We need help. We need help. We need your help because this ever-changing stuff has been brutal to us and we need help. And here's how you can help us. We want to show our appreciation for you. But if you want us to continue to compete, like we need your help because we either made bad decisions or we really don't have as much money as you think, or, people screwing us in NIL and leaving or whatever has really put us in a bind. Whatever it is, just talk to people, man. Just talk to people if you need help. And I think Razorback fans love the Hogs that much that they would be willing, not everyone, but willing to help out if you just were upfront and honest, being like, hey, if this is bad, we need your help. I think it would, but I don't think that'll ever happen. So,
I mean, I don't know. He didn't get on his hands and knees and beg, but that's almost exactly what he just did.
That point for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what he did there with some of those quotes. And like there's a level of pride and a level of, nothing is ever as good or bad as it seems. You know what I mean? But he's very open and honest with the money that they need to get and that they don't have it. And these are things they're doing internally and sacrificing themselves. And then here are the opportunities for you to help. So like, I really don't,
well, and also
supposed to do
going back to like, even when he spoke, you remember when he spoke, I guess it was at the Little Rock Touchdown Club. And he was talking about how, hey, the fans, y'all have to carry this collective and all that. Like, that's kind of been our frustration the whole time is like, look, you can ask fans for money. And obviously that's a part of it. You have to have some form of a collective. You are going to need the people of the state of Arkansas. We're like, dude, it's not the fans. It's not the state of Arkansas who's supposed to be footing the bill for this kind of stuff. And that's kind of been my frustration all along is it's like, if you're doing what you're supposed to do as an athletic department and existing in this world of NIL, you should not be that dependent on the good folks of Clinton, Arkansas, rising up and rallying enough money together to fund everything. And so I think that's what's kind of concerning the other way is that they're actually like trying to be a little too dependent on the casual fan who shouldn't be footing these bills.
Well, and I agree. And let me be clear. When I'm saying about Yurchek coming out and asking for help, I know he's asking for help, but I'm saying coming out asking for help based on what's resulted in this, like being transparent of why it's at this point and how it got to this point. Because I think about the Arkansas Edge. When it first got announced, I think it was the Duke basketball game. Bobby Petrino just got hired, all of that. Imagine if you were somebody that heard that and was like, man, I want to help. That's awesome. That's great. Let's do this. Here's $5,000. What did you get from that? Nothing. I mean, it's like the Arkansas Edge isn't even going to exist anymore. It wasn't promoted. You didn't get any like ROI on it. It was nothing. And that was just 2 years ago. So when something like this comes out and you're like, no, do this instead. I think there'll be a lot of fans that are apprehensive because they're like, well, man, what happened with that? Like, what happened all there? What happened with the Edge? Why? It's just a matter of being transparent about how you got to this point. And then once you do that, say, this is how we need your help and we want you to help us out because of this. I think that's what I'm more referring to as, because obviously they're begging for help. Obviously they're needing that, but it's more of just about explaining how it got to this point and why you're needing so much help. That's my thing. But again, I don't know. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors in this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot. I mean, because they had all those grandiose plans. We talked about the renovations at Bud and everything and how quickly that got moved to the bag burner. I'm sure it's more nuanced than this, but could not a big part of it just be this was our operating budget. This is how we were doing business. And now we have $20.5 million tacked onto it every single year moving forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're just they're not positioned to handle that.
Yeah,
so they
it's very
got to
possible.
find ways to do it. And maybe they're not doing a good job of doing that. But I think that's how you got here, because maybe you weren't operating at the surplus you needed to be, and you were scraping by or whatever as it was, which would make sense given where we knew the NIL and everything like that was for a while there. But that's a shit ton of money every year that gets thrown out on you, and you got to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, this is something that I know that they've had a whole team of people that have been preparing for and looking at, but it just draws more questions, I think, for a lot of people. And I think it's the issue of the basic fans, not all fans, but most of the fans just want to win, and they want to win at a high level. And if they feel like they need NIL to win, that's what they want their money, their hard-earned dollars to go towards, is winning. And when you have people in charge or whatever that is coming across to where you don't know if that's what it's going to go towards, it's like, that's the question that people have. Is it because of you and mismanaging and your bad decisions? Or is it because of, hey, everybody's going through this and we need other things to be done first before we get to NIL? Like, what is it? What is the priority here? Because I think that's what fans just want to know. What's the priority? Is it winning? Then let's get after it and let's win. Or is it just keeping the lights on? Because if there's a difference between the two. And right now it seems like keeping the lights on is a big thing. So,
and Curtis, the point you made earlier about talking to other SEC people that cover other SEC teams, and maybe this is just more of a thing that we just don't hear about, but it just sucks because there's so many programs in the SEC where you don't have to ask that question. Like, you kind of just know these dudes are spending a ton of money. They're going to stop at nothing to make sure they win. And you're kind of wondering, man, how the hell are these dudes spending all that money? Maybe they'll be in this position in 3 years where they're trying to keep the lights on. But it's like, it just sucks because I don't think every SEC program is in this same situation.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Like, it's just a different playing field, and it just makes you think that, because I originally thought, NIL and all this stuff will help Arkansas kind of get risen up a little bit, and it seems like at the end of the day, it's pretty much nothing has changed as far as which programs are doing well and which programs aren't. Except, you see the Ole Miss football programs doing well, you see the Missouri programs doing well. I think that's also something that's been a bitter pill for some fans to swallow. It's like, okay, well, they're doing something right over there, but what are we doing wrong? Why aren't we at that level? Why can't we have that? That's a key. So we'll get to your chats, folks, and do a little vibe check here in the chat. And it's presented by our friends over at Basis Health, where they're changing the way healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home, where a doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and so much more. It's Basis Health. They are here for you when you need them and where you need them the most. You can learn more at basishealth.org today. So we'll get to a lot of your chats, folks, because I know there's a lot of questions. We'll try to answer some of them the best we can. Some of them we may not be able to answer too. So, but let's see. We got Transplant Texan says, am I hearing this right, that the guidelines would rule out fans living out of state from participating, i.e. located in Arkansas? Yeah.
No, you just have to buy in Arkansas. You don't have to live in Arkansas. You have to purchase in the state. You have to be able to pick it up or whatever.
Yeah. You got to be 18 years or older to do it.
So if you're coming to a game from out of town, that would be your time, right?
You can buy on site and stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm almost certain I read that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the way I interpret it too.
I could see how that would be a point of concern for Transplanted Texan.
Double H says, the only reason I'm buying a ticket is because I'm a degenerate sports gambler, not because I want to give money to Euro. Okay, well, hey, I'm sure they'll take your money no matter what you want.
I'm tempted. But see, and that's the thing. They would randomly draw my name and be like, hell no. We're doing that again.
See, dude, that's the thing, man. Like, there's some people that, what if they drew Ozzy? Like, what are they going to do with that? Like,
dude, that tweet where they announce Ozzy as the winner of the raffle is going to hit like crack, bro.
That's what I'm saying. They're probably going to have to, they'll say there'll be random numbers and all that. They'll probably be like, we'll do a few and then we'll choose one instead. Because like, there's a lot of people that, or even like these businesses, like I'm sure I'm just using them as an example, but like Wright's Barbecue, it's like if they do that and they draw it and then is it just going to be the company that wins it? Is it going to be the employee of there? Is it going to be one of the Wright brothers? I don't know. Like, that's the thing that is going to be fascinating to see if any of these winners end up being ones that are funny. Like, what if our guy Carlton just put like $2 in there and won it? Like, wouldn't that be something? If old Carlton won it too, again, it'd be one of those things like, I probably don't want to do that. Let's see. And Evan brings up the question of like, what is Ole Miss doing that we aren't doing? Mississippi's one of the poorest states and share a population with another major college. Well, that's kind of what we've been talking about, Evan. Is just that's a question I think the fans wonder is like, okay, are they doing something better than what we're doing, or are they running at a way that is reckless and stupid, and they're about to come crumbling down quick, and we're the ones playing it safe and smart?
Here's the thing. Every single athletic department in the country is making all of these decisions, and they're all handling it the way they want to handle it. It's just what you let onto the public that has people like us and the general population reacting to it. If Ole Miss is having a bunch of issues and a bunch of whatever, they certainly don't act that way with the way they carry themselves, with the way Keith Carter presents his messaging, with the way that they're tweeting and the way that they kind of like Lane Kiffin and Keith Carter kind of have that feel. I would even say Chris Beard, I wouldn't say he's had the crazy success at basketball, but it's like they've ponied up to keep Chris Beard multiple times now. They've ponied up for Lane Kiffin. They've put together a roster. It's like, if they are hurting for cash, they've done a good job of making sure nobody knows about it. And I think Arkansas happens to be hurting for cash and everyone knows about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just, I think it's that on top of everything else coupled together with some people's feelings towards the U of A or Yurchek or whatever. I think it's all just encompassing, because if you were winning, or if you had a new coach and everything was going great and everyone was feeling good and positive, it probably wouldn't be as, like nonchalant about it, but it just tries to match people's feelings. Transplant Texan also says 3% concession fee goes to athletic scholarships, not NIL. Makes sense for Raffle to go towards debt, facilities, bonuses, not NIL. Because at this point in time, I'm going to be honest, guys, there's nothing really that just goes towards NIL. Like even the Arkansas Edge, I believe, they're going to end their contract with Blueprint Sports. So after that, it's like, there's nothing that's just set in stone, NIL.
They want to be able to pay out the max amount of the revenue share like everyone else so they can remain competitive. But yeah, the NIL stuff, it comes from elsewhere. Like that's like whatever business or company or whatever, then it's going to go through that NIL clearinghouse. It's going to tell you, hey, this is what the market value is. This is what you can make for, doing what you're trying to do or whatever. And that's how that outside NIL type of stuff is going to work. I
do not envy Hunter Yurchek for whenever he's going to have a meeting in his office with Dave Van Horn after he wins the national title. And when Dave's like, all right, now we're about to hit the portal. What do I got to work with? And then Hunter's going to be like, well, here's the thing. that is not, Dave is not going to be a happy man, dude.
Yeah. I'm sure he won't be the only one that won't be too happy whenever that comes around. So, Christy says, I listened to the first podcast on this raffle and however much money they get from the raffle, half of it goes to the university, and the person that wins the raffle gets the other half of the money. And she also goes in to say, I think it will be good if Arkansas fans can find it within themselves to not be so negative and give it a try.
I mean, yeah, you're right about how it's going to work. And yeah, I mean, I don't know that Arkansas fans are negative about the raffle. Like and I think we've said it, like, this is not a bad thing for Arkansas.
No. It's not going to hurt.
Is it the best way to do it? I mean, we could have that argument again. But no, it's a good thing that they've got this up and running. And it's certainly not going to hurt them. Like, there's no doubt about that. I think, the frustration that comes from Razorback fans is for all the reasons that we've kind of outlined here throughout the course of the show so far. This is just the latest example of something that's happened. And then Razorback fans are just kind of shrugging their shoulders going, what's going on? Like why? This is going where? How are we doing this? We didn't hear anything about it after that ruling. And then now we're launched. And it's just, it's a little bit odd, the messaging.
And if you go back to the fall, Carlton predicted, he literally nailed it. He was like, the university, they'll eventually realize they have to do this, but they're not going to want to do it in the creative, forward-thinking way that can really move the needle. But like you said, this is undoubtedly a step in the right direction. It's just how many steps, and you still have kind of like a mile to go. So you're gonna have to rattle off a lot of steps. But this is definitely like, this isn't gonna hurt by any means. Right. Any money you can generate is cool. And so like, yeah, it'll definitely help. We just felt like there was an opportunity to help more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and by the way, too, folks, this lottery deal or the raffle deal, it's ran through and being powered by Bump, which is your partner in philanthropy, mind you. That's who they're partnering with. Well, they're partnering it with a third party that's out of Canada for the Canadian Banknote Limited. And I did some research on this because I think people were interested. Like, hey, where's all that money go? How they take their cut over at Bump is it can be either bump fees can vary depending on the program and any agreements you have. So it could be just something that's through a contract, which I'd be interested if you could FOI that or if it's through the foundation. So it's private. I don't know, but it's either with that a variable fee or a fee structure where the fee would include processing fees, platform usage fees, and other operational costs according to Bump, which is a division of the Canadian Bank. So we don't know, at least with Blueprint Sports, who's kind of evidence like, okay, 15% of the cut is what it is. And I don't think that they're going to take the cut of the Razorback fan winnings. They're probably going to take it from the cut from whoever, like the U of A's part. At least I hope they do. So there is some fees involved there and all of that.
Yeah, which again goes into like how much you really trying to lean on this to get to where you need to be, right? Because half of it is going to immediately go to the winner, and so the proceeds that are going to go to the university is already cut in half, and then you have the fee taken out of that, and so it's it's not going to make as much of a dent as people think it's going to, and that doesn't mean it's because it's not drawing a lot of interest or it's not successful or anything, but it's very much the cost of doing business.
If only the U of A would have had like a graduate of the university who happened to run a business that has all the technology in place to do this, and that he would maybe give them a deal and maybe even do it for free. Like that would have been, if Arkansas could land into that type of situation, that actually might move the needle.
Yeah, if only that was the case. But as it goes back to the whole thing, it's about control, where the money goes. It's about control to where the money goes. Hopefully, if one of y'all can understand this reference, please tell me you do from Heartbroken Hogs. As Arthur Morgan's voice, where's the money? Do y'all understand that reference at all? Yeah, it's okay if you don't. It's okay if you don't. It's one of my favorite video games of Red Dead Redemption 2. I just wanted to throw it out there and ask. I knew the answer, but I still wanted to ask. All gone, it says, so we talk a lot on Hunter's lack of doing a job, but what are the 3 to 4 initiatives you boys would do to best close the deficit and get us ahead? Well, I mean, that's a job that's above my pay grade. But as far as 3 to 4 initiatives, I guess before I could even know that, I'd have to know what what is the deficit? How bad is it? Is it simply just that $20 million you got to get to and you'll be all right, or is it much worse than that? Because I've had some people ask me, like, well, what would you do? Well, I would honestly tell you what I would do if I knew how bad the problem was. If it was just something to get to that point. Not saying that I would come up with these grand schemes, but I think that there could be some basic things, but until you actually know the issue and how detailed and in depth it goes, it's hard to know like, oh, A, B, and C, that's how you do it. This might be the best way to do it for all I know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and you can't fix the books without seeing the books.
Right.
It's not our job to do. And the whole thing about talking about Hunter not doing his job and everything like that, I think most of the frustration has been about the messaging here and how that's been portrayed. And I think I've been very clear the entire time that we've been talking about this today, like that we understand the money that they have to come up with. We understand that all these things that they're doing, from the reseeding to the roundup to the 3%, whatever, to this, are all vehicles to get them to where they're needed. Like you've got to do what you got to do. I mean, I don't think anybody's doubting that or is having a hard time, being able to comprehend that. That's just the way that it is. But the question is, why are you in this spot and why are your peers not?
Yeah.
Like what are they doing? So then to answer your question, I would just look at Ole Miss or some of these other people who aren't using this, as out of a position of fear, that aren't talking about it every turn and seeing what they're doing. And then I would probably implement some of those things is what I would do.
And I hate to say have rich friends as a solution to money problems, but I got to be honest with you, in college sports, that's kind of the way to do it. And in the state of Arkansas, where you have 6 Fortune 500 companies, I know it sounds simplistic, but it's like, why did Arkansas basketball all of a sudden start competing at a national level from NIL. You had a head coach in Eric Musselman who was a psycho and was going to find a way to field a competitive roster at all costs. He was so cutthroat, and he had a good relationship for a long time with the Hunts, and they found a way to make it work. Now the price goes up. You bring in John Calipari. He has a good relationship with John Tyson. All of a sudden now Arkansas has a top 5 budget in NIL for college basketball. It's like that kind of is the ultimate cheat code. And also in terms of like initiatives and stuff, and we've talked about 1,000 times, we felt like there was a way for them to do this very raffle 6 months ago with SARACEN for a much better situation that could have had a much higher ceiling. And everyone pushed back against that idea until now that they've determined, okay, we have to do it. We're just going to have to do it shittily now. So yeah, I think that a lot of what we were talking about 6 months ago has aged pretty well there. But like you guys said, it's not like our job. All we know is the information we have. And we're all these things that are made public to us. That's all we can really speak on. And I feel like we've kind of given our point of view and our take on all of these things.
Well, I was just going to say, it reminds me real quick of like, imagine if you have one of your best friends, they just come banging on your door and they're covered in blood. Their shirt's all messed up. They're like, hey, I got to disappear. Help me disappear. And you're like, well, what happened? Just, I got to disappear. You want to know what happened. You want to know, okay, so what led to this? Like, what are you like, what's going to happen from this? I think that's how some fans feel. Is like, just, we want to know how this happened. That's all it is.
And Andrew, to your point about having rich friends, you're right. And that's the part of the conversations that we're not really privy to. And from Hogball Burner here, he says, it feels like Arkansas is relying too much on the common fan when other schools are relying on top donors. Common fans are never going to be able to fund an SEC program. That's very, very true. So the things that we see are, the reach out stuff where they're like, hey, donate to this, contribute to that, sign up for this, be a member of that, reseat this, reseat that. All the ways where they can get, more out of your pocket to help solve this problem. And that's a frustration point for people. Well, then yesterday, like in that article, and again, I'd encourage people to read it. But then he's talking about the things that they're doing internally to make their own sacrifices of, not giving the raises and, cutting the operating costs and everything like that. But Hogball Burner was right. And Andrew, you're right. That's how much is that really making a dent into what you are trying to come up with here? And so having those top donors and boosters that maintain support, up support, and everything like that, it's very, very important. I have no idea if they are or aren't, or what that looks like, or if some people are going crazy and some people are backing out. I have no clue what that looks like.
I also think a lot of this comes down to how you view yourself as an athletic department. And look, Arkansas in football, they are where they are. Basketball, they are where they are. And it kind of fluctuates sports to sport. But I think if you're a program in the SEC trying to compete at the highest level, you have to have a head coach in that sport that believes you can be the best program in the country. Is that realistic for all your programs? Hell no, it's not. But you have to try. And I think, John, that's a lot of what you were talking about with the whole don't settle for mediocrity. You have to view yourself in that context. In college football, it's not a very complex issue of how to field a championship football team in college football and to compete at that level. You have to have the best talent in the country. That's the only way to do it. In college basketball, I wouldn't even say that's the foolproof way to do it, because you can kind of have some seniors and have whatever. In college football, it is that simple. If you have 25 NFL players, you're going to compete for a national championship. I understand, easier said than done, but so you have to kind of look at it and say, all right, how much money does it take to field that kind of roster in football? Okay, it takes X amount. Well, what can we get to? What's the closest amount we can possibly get to being that? And you have to kind of try and climb that ladder. And you have to, like you say, get creative. Find unique ways. You're not just going to stumble upon a pile of cash. You have to have that rich friend. You have to have that forward-thinking graduate of your university that runs a casino that can maybe help you get some money some way. You kind of need weird things. It's going to take out-of-the-box ideas to get you there. And I understand it's a lot easier for us to sit on a microphone and say, yeah, you should just be trying to do this. But I really don't think the University of Arkansas athletic department is sitting here right now thinking, how can we field the best possible football team? I don't think that conversation is one that they have at these meetings. I think they have, how the hell are we going to pay this janitor? How the hell are we going to pay for this? It's like, I think there's definitely and again, to Hogball Burner's point, relying on the common fan, that can kind of help you in some of those regards, but relying on the common fan is not going to take you from a top 12 program in the SEC to a top 5 program in the SEC. And I think if that's not your goal, you're not aiming to try and climb that ladder, then I think you're kind of spinning your wheels here. And eventually people are going to realize that. I think with the football program, people are starting to realize, like, hey, I don't think this team's priority is trying to be the best in the country, which is an unrealistic goal anyway, but you at least have to put that messaging out there that we are doing everything possible. Like John said, lie to us. Just say, hey, we're trying to be the best team. We think we can beat Georgia or whatever. I know you can't beat Georgia, but you have to have that mentality. And I think it starts at the top. And so, someone earlier asked, what are these other schools that are doing that are differently? Lane Kiffin does not view himself as a poor program who's in the bottom half of the SEC. He views himself as the best coach in college football. He thinks he can get the best team in college football every year. He hasn't done it yet, but he's going down trying. Keith Carter, as an AD, views Ole Miss as the best athletic department in the country. They aren't by any stretch of the imagination, but that's the kind of strides he's trying to take. That's where every move he makes is a move trying to make his athletic department the single best in the country. And he's a lot closer than Hunter Yurachek is right now as we stand today.
Well, you come across as panicked and Ole Miss comes across as prepared.
Yep.
And you come across as get me by and Ole Miss comes across as get me to the top.
Yep.
And when you're having to do this thing where it appears, and again, it comes back to the messaging, it appears that you're like really having to reach under the couch cushions to find the change and try to rely on, the fan base, a penny here, a penny there, every dollar helps. That's not the look that you're going for there. It's really not. Ole Miss is probably doing a lot of the same things where they're encouraging people to donate here and there and everywhere else. But just the attitude, the approach, all that's what's different. And it probably makes people feel a little bit better, and they puff out their chest a little bit and they go, hell yeah, we can beat Jordan. We can beat out, like all those things. You start to believe in it when it's portrayed to you, and you're more prone to donating and believing and being positive about the cause. The opposite is kind of the case here in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and which is a great segue into us talking about what to watch, because I think we want to continue that conversation. And it's, of course, presented by our friends over at Bryant Technologies, where they're dedicated to delivering that high-quality network infrastructure and security camera solutions, where they take pride in their exceptional workmanship, as well as their commitment to keeping business operations seamlessly connected and secure, whether it's structured cabling, security camera installation, digital signage, TV mounting. They do it all with Bryant Technologies, and they service the entire state of Arkansas, as well as all the bordering states. Yes, that includes Texas, includes Oklahoma, Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, Missouri, all of those places. They help you out. So have Bryant Technologies help you with your network and security needs by giving them a call today at 870-883-0330 or check out their website at bryantstechnologies.com with that S in between, bryantstechnologies.com. It's Bryant Technologies, quality work guaranteed. And that's something to watch. I know we'll have more chats, but I think you guys brought up a great point of the perception. Nolan Richardson once said, perception's the key to everything. And the perception is not there. I just went over, guys, and looked at Florida Gators 50-50 raffle that they do. For one, it's similarly looked like it looks the same, like as far as the website and all that kind of thing. But they only do it for football. They don't do it for all the other sports. It's just for football. They only do it during the football season and the spring game. And I was looking at it too. Do you guys, I'm sure you looked at it, but do you know how many chances or how many tickets you get if you spend $100 for Arkansas? You get 300. If you give $100, you get 300 chances. At Florida, if you spend $100, you get 600 chances. You get double the chances. Just something fascinating. But also, Florida, I was looking at it during the season. The most they ever had was the very first week they did it
against Miami.
Against Miami, they raised $90,000 for a jackpot. $45,000 went to the winner. After that, $27,000. Granted, it was against Samford, but then A&M, it went up a little bit, $35,000. But then $28,000, then $25,000, and then $23,000, and then their spring game, $2,500. So that's another thing I'm going to be curious about to see if this is something that is growing or something that goes down. Because at least with Florida, as an example, they started off strong, but didn't stay that way.
So, John, let's play a hypothetical game where you said 45,000 for that opening week. That's what they generated. Let's say they did that 12 times. And obviously they just do this at home games. So really this is even an accurate number. Let's say they played 12 home games and got 45,000 every single time. That adds up to $540,000, which is not a small amount of money. We all would like to have $540,000. But when you're in the context of the athletic department of a program like this, and you're talking about a $20 million problem, as Hunter Yurachek called it, is that, you know what I mean? Like, is that going to change the standing of your athletic department? It'll help. It'll pay, 2 university employees salaries or whatever, but it's like, I don't know if, again, this is not the forward thinking game changer. And by the way, that number is if everything went flawlessly. Really, the numbers you listed off are way lower than that. It's probably closer to 100, 200,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause again, we're talking about Florida Gators in football. Like, they're just, it's a different thing and a different animal. But again, it goes back to how is this going to look? Cause that's another thing real quick, how you promote this, man. Because if you promote it the same way you did Arkansas Edge, it's going to be dead in the water by the end of the year. If you really are serious about this needs to be promoted nonstop all the time, 24/7, 365. Because if you do not promote it, people are not going to care about it because it shows that you don't care about it and they're going to back off. So that's another thing I'm going to be fascinated about is the promotion of all this and how it's going to look. Let's see a few more of your chats there too. Timothy brings up this point of saying, should we cut funding to nonprofit sports?
That's what they're trying to avoid.
Yeah. Did you guys happen to read that article from the Tennessean the other day? I meant to share it with y'all, but it was really fascinating talking about Tennessee's always become like that everything school because they're good and everything. But with this revenue sharing, like what challenges it's going to cause for them to remain an everything school. I think that's something that everyone's trying to avoid, but hopefully, and even it's not just, it's bigger in Arkansas. Like hopefully there's no major programs that have to cut any of the nonprofit sports, but I guarantee you there are going to be some cuts at some schools that are going to be nonprofit sports.
1,000%. And again, this comes down to what is everyone else doing? Like Arkansas could very well end up doing that, but it's like, again, what does that say? That like everyone else is operating and they're finding a way. Because look, college athletic departments have been funding nonprofit sports for hundreds of years. Like it's a fundamental part of it. And obviously the numbers change with NIL and all that, but it's like everyone's kind of been prepared to do that for years and has been doing it, with no issue. And so I think it's going to be one of those things, like you said, John, everyone's trying to avoid it. Eventually someone's going to make that move and just say, you know what, let's just cut soccer. Let's just cut the, and it's kind of going to be one. I think once someone does it, then everyone's going to do it. And it's a slippery slope. But see, that's another thing is like, I just don't think Arkansas should want to be that program that sets that tone and is like, yeah, we're going to cut all our other sports just so we can maybe go from 12th to 9th in football.
I don't think they give a shit. I mean, they're the first school that's come out right and started suing players to get their NIL money back. So they'll do what they got to do to get to that bottom line, man.
Dude, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, what I was going to say though is Hunter Yurachek, and not all ADs operate this way. You have to say it publicly, but you don't really believe it. But I do feel like Hunter Yurachek is very much the athletic director for the entire athletic department. I mean, he really kind of does the above and beyond thing for every single sport. And so I think he's the type of guy that would be like the last thing on his list of options.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to make cuts and you're running short or whatever, getting rid of these programs, and he'd have a Title IX issue that he'd have to deal with too. But I do think that he puts some of those nonprofit sports and those non-mainstream sports at a much higher pedestal than a lot of other ADs that are in this conference or around the country.
Let me ask Hog fans, would you rather be Missouri, who clearly has allocated like 98% of their athletic funds to football? I don't even because with the roster they put together, it's like, damn, like that's pretty impressive. But then you look at every single other sport and they end up being decent in basketball, but it wasn't because they allocated a ton of money. I mean, baseball is a disaster. I think they were the only SEC team that didn't make the tournament in softball. They didn't make the tournament in women's basketball either. It's like, that's kind of like the sacrifice they've made. Would Hog fans sign up for something like that where you get better at football and you're a 9-3 program, but you just suck at everything?
I mean, I bet you some maybe publicly will say one thing and privately say another, but yeah. I don't know. I just want to be more like Ole Miss, take whatever they're doing, because they're good in women's basketball, they're good in men's basketball, good in football, baseball. They're pretty solid. Whatever they're doing, give me what I'll have what they're having. Give me that, because that they seem to be doing something. But real quick, the only point I was going to bring up is just it goes back to the origin of a lot of this, where it's evident, factual, 100% true that Yurachek, Arkansas, was very apprehensive and has not been big on NIL. And that's, I think, was why if you have that ingrained into the foundation, I think a lot of people are going to be like, it seems like you're going to do things to avoid having to do NIL, even though that's the name of the game. And I think people's mindset, it's hard for people to get over that, where like, yeah, but Hunter, like, you don't like this. You don't want this. You don't want this. So how how do we know it's going to go towards this? It's unfortunate, but
you ready for a banger here, John? Arkansas's athletic department is always in a 1-2 count, 2-strike approach. Some of these other schools, it's 3-1. And like they're deep sea fishing. They have that mentality of like, we're about to hit a home run. Arkansas is like, shit, can we foul this one off and stay alive? Maybe poke one through the right side for a base knock. I don't know. But there's just a different mentality with how these schools approach it. And that's kind of been our big is like Hunter was very resistant from the jump. And now he's kind of becoming accepting of it. But that's very different from saying, all right, this is the way things are headed. Let's make sure we dominate at all costs.
Were you going to say something, Curtis?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's they're perpetually on their heels. I mean, it's true.
Yeah. They're not the aggressive nature that I think a lot of people were hoping for. I know we've talked a lot about this, but there are other things going on, and we will get into that. We'll get into our heavy hitters here in just a second too. But I did want to bring this up from Parker. He says, off topic, but Curtis, will you watch the NBA more when Calipari starts putting in more guys in the league? Because I think I will. Yeah, I think so. I mean, the more Razorback, flair there is in there, the better. For me, though, it's just I'm the college basketball guy, man. So like when November rolls around until the NCAA tournament's over, I mean, it's every waking moment of my existence. I don't have time. Yeah. I don't have time to worry about the NBA and these bullcrap January Tuesday night NBA games. It's just they don't play hard. It doesn't do anything for me. It's inconsequential. They play 80 some odd games. So I don't think I'm ever going to be a big NBA guy in the regular season. I've really enjoyed the playoffs and everything, but no, college basketball is always going to be my baby, whether, Cal has the first 5 picks in the draft next year or not.
I like that. Curtis, you should go full on and just like anytime a Cal guy, like obviously the Arkansas ones, but like you should be like, hey, Jamal Murray, 38 points tonight, another Cal product, just go full on. Every Cal guy. I mean, that's a long ass list. That's harder to keep up with than just watching the NBA period.
Yeah. Well, I was going to bring up that I don't know how many people are going to be changing to watch the NBA. Maybe some will be, but I would bet money that this might be the most interested Razorback fans have been in the NBA draft combine, maybe ever. Yeah. Like I know that there's been times they've had some players in the mix, but I feel like the interest in what's going on with the NBA draft combine, I've heard more about that and heard people talking more about that than I can think in Razorback basketball history, at least here in the modern history. So I think that's an element that I think people are going to be a lot more interested in too.
I hope they stay that way the rest of the week, because that's all I'm talking about.
Hey, listen, I think that people are itching for that, and just I'm sure it has nothing to do with like how good Carter Knox does, and if he stays or not into the NBA draft. I'm sure it has nothing to do with that. They just want what's best for the young man and his decision making.
I'm so sick of seeing Carter's name all over the internet, man. People are finding out that Carter Knox is good at basketball, and that's just not what I wanted to happen.
Yeah, that's not what any of us wanted. That's not what any of us wanted. So
that 6'10" and a quarter wingspan is notable. Very, very notable.
Wouldn't it be nice if he just had some T-Rex arms, just 6'1"?
It would.
Yeah. It's like, could you?
How about Jake Richardson being 6'0" Did you see that?
Yeah.
Now he also has a 38-inch vertical. So
I was gonna say, he's leading the vert competition right now. Good on him, man. Some of these big guys, it's ridiculous. That are measuring out with like 7'7" wingspans and 7'1" and a quarter without shoes. It's like, where the hell are you finding these guys?
Dude, the line, some of the combine, I also feel like historically has been like the measurements are small. Like I remember they said KD was like 6'9.5" at the combine. Yeah. And like I think KD is maybe 7 foot 7'1". Like I see him standing next to Jokic and they're like eyeball to eyeball. And I'm like, that dude is not 6'9". Like he's just not.
Yeah. I know a lot of people get irritated that it's like, why do we measure without shoes and they play in shoes? It's like, and I get it, but I also understand it just avoids anyone cheating the system at all. Like, oh, you don't, sneak an insert into my shoe or, bigger heels or, like whatever to give yourself that extra quarter inch. You don't even have to think about it. Just measure barefoot and understand that, the roster height that you have is going to be, an inch or a little bit taller there. Was pretty crazy to see not just how close Adu Thero and Carter Knox were. Now Thero's got a superior wingspan, but he's only an inch taller than Carter was in the measurements there. And he was only 4 pounds heavier, which, I look at a dude Theron, I'm like, this dude's chiseled out of granite, man. And Carter Knox is working off that baby fat this season, but Carter's got a chance to be playing at like a chiseled 220 next year. And that really excites me. But I'll tell you what doesn't excite me is for those who are, excited about the potential of Jameer Watkins or whatever. Him and Carter Knox are the exact same person. They are the exact same person. The same height, within 0.4 pounds of each other, within a half inch in wingspan, athletically similar, shooting similar. It's the same damn player. And so it really makes me wonder, Cal could very easily be looking at that and being like, I have one of these, and he's younger with more upside to improve.
Yeah. I love the people that are like debating which one they'd rather have. And I'm just, it's like, I want Carter back.
No question.
I want
definitely want Carter back. But
I'm in the why not both, but we know that Arkansas is broke. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Money.
Well, hey, it's come full circle, Curtis, to the point where I think Carter might be the better draft prospect at this stage. And like, obviously I think we agree he's a better player, but like, I'm seeing some of these mocks. I'm seeing Carter's name starting to kind of go up. Wouldn't it be, because we kind of said that at the beginning where we were like, obviously you'll have Carter back, but maybe you can get Jameer. Now Jameer might be your fallback option if Carter ends up going to the draft.
Well, Jameer's older than you. And that's what's killing him, man. And Carter's 19 or whatever, or 20, whatever he just turned. But yeah, it's true. Although the only mock that I've seen Carter on is the one from No Ceilings that went out today, and they had him like the second pick in the second round. I was like, holy shit. Nobody else even has him getting drafted. It's like, I don't know if they know something that literally everyone else doesn't know or what that looks like. But when I saw him up there, they were the ones originally that had him at like 39th. And that's when everybody started freaking out. It's like, dang, he might, what if he stays in? Now they got him at 32nd or something. You're like, holy crap. But Javoni and Wasserman and like none of these other guys even have him being selected. So I don't know what the difference is there, but we'll see. Like, I mean, how he winds up shooting and tests out athletically and everything like that. But the beauty of it is neither him nor Jameer Watkins are going to get any shots up in the scrimmage because they're on a team with Mark Sears and PJ Haggerty and Cam Jones from Marquette in the backcourt. Those dudes aren't going to touch the ball. So that's a good thing for Razorback fans.
Dude, they're going to be sharing the ball. Come on now. I mean, they're known for their assists. I mean, that's what they're known for.
Mark Sears is going to average 24 and 6 in Shanghai next year.
Exactly.
You'd be busting ass.
Exactly, bro.
Putting up 38 shots a game too, and doing that. I tell you what, we'll get to more of your chats, folks. But of course, it's a good segue because we got to get to who our heavy hitter is. Presented by HD Roofing and Construction. Storms can hit unexpectedly, so be sure to contact HD Roofing for your peace of mind with a free inspection. They'll make sure that they take care of business. I saw our guy Garrett post on social media that he just got a roof inspected and fixed up that was in desperate need of some fixing, and they got it all taken care of. No problems asked and no questions asked, no problems. So when you choose HD Roofing, you can rely on professionalism, top quality materials, and expert installation for all of your roofing needs. You can contact them today and their website at hdarkansas.com, or you can call them at 501-428-0429. That's 501-428-0429. It's HD Roofing and Construction, because when you think roofing, think HD. All right. So for my heavy hitter, real quick, kind of going along with the NBA and all that stuff. My heavy hitter, man, Dallas Mavericks. How about that? It's not rigged. It's okay. They get the number one overall pick. They just had a 1.8% chance of getting the number one overall pick, even though they traded away Luka, which was the most absurd, stupid thing that everyone's been critical of and making fun of him more and all that. It's okay. They're going to get Cooper Flag. So totally fine. But shout out to them and shout out to the NBA for once again showcasing the fact that it's totally, totally not rigged at all, but we're still going to make you think it is because we keep having these little examples of it. Just a wild, wild thing. And Cooper Flag going to the Mavericks. All but said, unless he trades it away.
It's just another prime example of like good things happening to bad people, or, people who don't earn it, just falling into things that they don't deserve. And it's exactly what's going on here with Dallas. Good for them, whatever. I'm sure Cooper Flag is going to really enjoy playing with Kyrie and AD for a combined 28 games next year. And good luck to him. I was hoping
DG though.
Yeah. I was hoping he might, they're going to have to get rid of a center. I wish DG would go somewhere else. He wants to be paid like a center, and I don't like a starting center, and I don't blame him because he is a starting center. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be like him or who Lively. I mean, they're gonna have to get rid of somebody, I would think. But I was hoping that it was gonna be San Antonio. When it got down to the final 4 teams there for the picks, I was watching the lottery. And I was like, damn. I mean, if the Spurs win this and they can pair Wemby with Cooper Flag with De'Aaron Fox, whoo, that would have been a lot of fun, man. But the Mavs got it. It's whatever.
Shout out to the Jazz who tanked their asses off this year and ended up with like the 7th pick or something like that. Like 10th. It's like, dude, that's tough.
Yeah, Goodman was like, they tanked for Jeremiah Fears.
I'm like, that's brutal, bro. I also saw the top 3 picks being in the order they were in had like a 0.00114 chance. It was like an unreal % chance of happening.
Insane.
Yeah, the lottery. I mean, you've had Derrick Rose, Chicago, LeBron, Cleveland, being from Akron, Patrick Ewing, New York. Like, there's been Tim Duncan. The Spurs have had. I thought the Spurs were going to get flagged because the Spurs have had some of the best. They've won the lottery, I guess, 3 times, and it's resulted in 3 generational big men every single time. It's like every time there's a generational big, the Spurs win the lottery. It's definitely. I wonder if Bill Simmons, by the way, called this. I wonder if Adam Silver really just was like, hey, trade Luka to a big market and we'll get you Cooper Flag. Like, let's just don't tell anybody about this. Don't explain yourself. Go to these press conferences and lie your ass off. That's what's happening. And Nico Harrison, credit to him, he did his job. He was like, all right, I'm just going to eat this. I'm going to eat this for 3 months, and then I'm going to get Cooper Flag.
Well, one thing I do hate real quick for you, give you guys your heavy hitter, is when I see like ESPN be like, what could have been? And it shows like Cooper Flag with Luka and all that. And I'm like, the reason they got the number 1 overall pick is because they didn't have Luka, you idiots. Like, that's not what could have been. That stuff pisses me off all the time. I'm like, what could have been? I was like, no, the reason they're even in this position is because of that person not being there anymore. So that just drives me up a wall.
Yeah. Did you guys see? It's kind of awkward how I mean, I get it. Cooper Flag is going to be the number 1 pick or whatever, but as soon as it's revealed, then they're immediately interviewing the dude from Dallas. It wasn't Nico, it was whoever the other guy was. And it's like, so what does Cooper Flag mean to you? It's like, well, damn, man, we haven't made the selection yet. Like, like we get it, but let's go through the pomp and circumstance here. But he's like, oh, he's a great play. He's a hooper, but there's a lot of hoopers and we're just trying to make our team better. And then they immediately interview Cooper Flag. It's like, so that's on Dallas, and you're going to be playing with Anthony Davis. And he handled it well, but he very clearly didn't. I mean, he should have been like, well, I haven't been drafted by them yet. Okay. But that's just an awkward situation to put these folks in right away.
I wonder if, did Cooper Flag look a little upset?
A little bit.
He didn't look super thrilled.
He wasn't over the moon. I mean, would you be? He's probably thinking, like, damn, if I, put on a few pounds in the offseason, I'm going to get sent out of here. I think it was Gary Parrish. Gary Parrish is like Cooper Flag, knowing that Nico Harrison's going to ship him off somewhere else as soon as he cracks open his first beer. Like, crazy, man. But no, that's a good one. My heavy hitter, I'll stick with the NBA. I know everybody's probably seen that tweet that's kind of gone viral rolling around out there, but it's true if you watch the games. Jalen Williams, man, he's putting the clamps on Jokic now, and it's a beautiful thing to see. I think in the last 2 games combined, Jokic is 2 of 12 when defended by Jay Will, and he can't move him. Like, Jokic is a big dude, but when he gets into his body, Jay Will ain't budging. I mean, this is the charge maestro. He's a brick wall in there. He's doing a great job. He's turned Jokic kind of into a jump shooter and doing a good job contesting in there. He looks really, really good defending him. If you give Jalen, he has his limitations as an NBA player. But if you give someone who's in the similar vein as he is in terms of like vertical athleticism and, quickness and twitchiness and everything like that, that aren't his strengths, then he can really, really, really be a talented defender in there. And it's cool that people are taking notice and cool that he's doing a good job. And I hope that the Thunder continue to roll there. And I'm glad that Jay Will is a part of it.
Yeah, maybe Jokic just needs to throw on the Colin Castleton film and just just
He
get
got-
his
he-
bag
yeah.
a little bit and learn. Because that's what's funny. is we used to talk about it so much. When Jay Will, he was such a good team defender, but he kind of struggled in those one-on-one matchups against some of the top bigs in the league, like a Walker Kessler, like a Sheboy or whoever it was. So it's funny to see him against literally the best player on the planet, just clamping it up.
Just absorbing contact, bro. I mean, like Jokic is putting some shoulders on that man. He ain't budging.
Jay Will's put on some weight, man. He's filled out a good bit. He's a thick bastard now. We do our best of the weekend, and I do a weekend winners on Monday every Monday on the Bombastic Podcast. I chose to withhold this guy from both of those things. Didn't even have him as an honorable mention yesterday in my weekend winners. But I've got to go Hunter Dietz. We've talked about him on the show literally the other day. We were like, is this guy just a figment of our imaginations? Probably, Hunter Dietz made his collegiate debut against LSU with a lead. He very much did not have a lead in his season debut for 2025, but I thought it was kind of funny that he made his debut each season against LSU. Honestly, like I was so depressed during that Saturday game, forgot that was even an option that Hunter Dietz could pitch. But I was glad to see Arkansas score some runs in the top of the 7th to give him that chance. And good for Hunter Dietz, by the way, made it on D1 Baseball's heat sheet. They have their heat sheet, which is like any player that the D1 scouts see in person throw 97 or more. They put them all in this spreadsheet. It's like all the players that threw 97. Arkansas's got like 9 of them this year. So shout out to Hunter Dietz. He's on the heat sheet. Outing number 1, topped out at 98 miles an hour. And he got just 2 outs before Ryder Helfrich made a ridiculous throwing error that allowed the mercy rule to come into effect, which they did not charge as a throwing error. So it goes down as an earned run for Hunter Dietz, and I really don't appreciate that. But I really just want to talk about Arkansas's left-handed pitchers for a second here, because there was a few weeks ago when Parker Coyle was down, we were still not, we didn't think we were ever going to see Hunter Dietz. Landon Beidelshees has had his struggles. Zach Root was kind of up and down, and I'm like, man, and Cole Gibbler had a bad outing against A&M, and I'm like, dude, Arkansas they're lefties. Like, they need their left-handed pitchers to step up. Like, is Arkansas ever going to get any consistency? Like, the righties had been pretty good. Carter, Fouch, even Gackle's starting to get it back. Like, I was kind of wondering, will Arkansas's lefties ever, will that be a thing? Now you look at it, Zach Root's pitching the way he is. Parker Coyle's back, and he looks like he hadn't skipped a beat at all. Cole Gibbler had a really good outing the other day. And now you add in a guy in Hunter Dietz that throws 98. It's like Arkansas's kind of got a little bit of a path. Who knows if Landon Beidelshees will join those guys in the bullpen. But against some teams in the postseason, Arkansas is about to just be able to rattle off 6 straight lefties and just like kind of what Arkansas did against that LSU team in 2023, John, if you remember. It was the big thing is that LSU team, their splits against lefties were crazy, and they ended up winning the national title because there wasn't a team in the postseason, because Arkansas wasn't there in Omaha. There wasn't a team that could really match up with their offense. They didn't have the left-handed arms to limit them. I think there's going to be a matchup in Omaha at some point where Arkansas faces a team that has a crazy split differential, and we're going to see Hunter Dietz, Parker Coyle, and Cole Gibbler just absolutely dice these dudes up. I love lefties, man. Curtis, I know you love lefties too, because you are one.
I'm getting ready to try to raise one that will pitch for Tony Vitello one day down the road. So
I like that. You can introduce Tony. You should go ahead and get that on your radar this weekend. We'll take him out to dinner.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I'm sure he'd love to go to dinner with us and not some of the new singles out there in Fayetteville, I'm sure. Either way, we'll keep it moving. We'll get to your chats here too, folks. But I do want to do a little buy or sell action presented by our friends over at BetSaracen. It's the #1 sports betting app here in the state of Arkansas. They got all the specials going on for this weekend with Arkansas and Tennessee. Parlays, spreads, money lines, everything. The best app, easiest app, only app you need to use when it comes to sports betting in the state of Arkansas. You can download it on your iPhone or on your Android, or you can check them out online at betsaracen.com. All right, guys, we're going to do some buy or sells pretty quickly here. But some of it we already talked about, but I'm curious y'all's thoughts on this. Buy or sell that the Razorback Raffle will pay out over double by the end of the year what it does this weekend. I don't know if I worded that right, but basically the end of the year Razorback Raffle will be double of what the winner makes this weekend in the first weekend.
I mean, if they do it for 4 football games, it'll absolutely dominate whatever it does this weekend, right?
I could be stupid here.
No, I'm probably the stupid one. Words are hard for me. Basically, say if it was, the person who won this weekend was $15,000 is what they won.
Yeah.
Will it be at least 30,000 or more by the time at the end of the year that they win?
Oh, I see. No.
So you think they're not going to do it during football season?
I think they will, but I don't think, because what would that wind up being? Like for the last game, is that what we're talking about here? Like the last football game of the year? Mm-hmm. Who do they play? Missouri.
Thanksgiving though, people are already spending their money on Christmas gifts.
Yeah, they're all doing the Black Friday stuff. They ain't got time for a raffle, bro. No, I'm selling that one. I will say, I will buy that there will be multiple games where it's more than double. over the course of the season, but I'm not taking that one.
Okay, that's kind of where. Okay, so I thought it meant like by the end of the year. Okay, now I understand what we're saying now. I still, well, yeah, I don't think the Missouri game is going to do it. Now, I think you're right, Curtis, that it kind of like Florida. I think there will be maybe week one, the home opener. They'll maybe have a $35,000, $40,000
Notre Dame game if they're
similar to Florida
or whatever that is. Yeah,
it was Florida versus Miami week one. Like that is, and it is the first time they ever did it. So that was kind of set up. I don't think they'll get that high. That was 45,000. I can see Arkansas getting up to 30,000.
Yeah. Again, words are hard for me sometimes. How about this? Buy or sell that the series against Tennessee will be the most intense regular season series Arkansas has ever had at home. Meant to make that at home in Baum.
There's going to be tension in there, man.
Very much so.
Tennessee takes it everywhere they go, and I know we talked yesterday, and it's very true about. Seems like after that one incident that they've like Tony V's kind of dialed it down against the Razorbacks, but those dudes are just so out of pocket, and I'm also basing it off of seeing Arkansas their last time at home and just how freaking jacked up they were. It just seems like all the ingredients are right for just a tense series. I'm gonna buy it, but I also don't remember. I can't recall
there haven't been a like crazy amount of like super intense ones. I'll tell you, an intense one was 2018 Kentucky. That one, and they swept them. That Kentucky team was chirping a good bit. Hell, when they played Tennessee in 2023 and swept them, it was pretty. A lot of Arkansas's most intense series at home have led to sweeps. But if you think about that 2021 season where they had all those great series, a lot of the best ones were on the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tennessee being one of them. And that's why I brought up, I think like last year's Mississippi State series was pretty intense. You know,
that's a good one. Yeah. You don't hear shit coming from that dugout. That was pretty intense.
That was
I
good.
think this will top that. I do think this will top that. Another thing, and I agree, Curtis, that your Tennessee takes it wherever they go. Tennessee has lost 5 of their last 6 series. Arkansas has lost 4 of their last 5. You got teams that want to end the regular season on a good note. Believe it or not, guys, Dave Van Horn dislikes Jim Schlossnagle a lot more than he dislikes Tony Vitello. And so I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if Arkansas comes out with that same fire to them. Obviously they're going to want to play better. I'm sure they're going to be focused and dialed. Will they have that vitriol? I don't know. But if they don't have it to start, Tennessee will give them a reason because those dudes they're going to do what they do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't wait. And also the last time Arkansas, I guess, swept Tennessee was in 2023. It was also the timing of that because it was the middle of April. It was like still early enough in the season where figuring things out. Like this could be, I'm not saying it would, but if Arkansas gets swept, they may get out of a national seed. But if they win the series, they're in the national seed. So at least there's something riding on it a little bit. But
does Tennessee have any shot to get one? I don't know where they're at.
Not a national seed. No, they've fallen. I don't know. Let me actually correct because I haven't looked at D1 baseball. They were doing like a video, like a live stream where they were releasing the national seeds, and I saw Arkansas and I saw a few after, but then I stopped watching. Tennessee last week they were projected as the number 9 overall. Then they lose a series. I'm trying to think of what their conference record. They're kind of far back. I don't see how they would have to jump over Vanderbilt, who just beat them in a series. They'd have to jump over LSU, who beat them in a series. Like, I don't know. They maybe have a chance, but I don't think so. I think they are like just want to make sure they're still hosting. If they win a game this weekend, they'll probably be safe from that. But I don't know. They're probably within striking distance of a national seed. So I don't want to rule them out just yet.
15th in RPI, I see.
Yeah.
Their RPI is a little sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
How about this for this series? Buy or sell that Arkansas hits more home runs than Tennessee and Baum this weekend.
I'm buying this.
I'm buying it too.
Did y'all notice that Arkansas scored 7 runs without a home run in Sunday's game? How about that? They went anti-gorilla ball to they said, we need to win a series. Let's put the gorillas up. Let's
I want to buy it. I just keep seeing them giving up nukes. I will. I'll buy it at home.
And I mean, I think Arkansas and Tennessee are like top 2, 3 in the country in home runs. Could be a healthy amount on both sides. I'm gonna lean by because I think Tennessee's pitching depth could get exposed. I mean, we saw Arkansas kind of expose LSU's pitching depth a little bit on Sunday. I think Tennessee's pitching, their bullpen's even worse. And so I think Arkansas by the end of the weekend, like that game 3 on Saturday, Arkansas could hit 6 or 7.
Both teams have played 52 games. Tennessee has 112 home runs. Arkansas has 104. Yeah, and they're both top 5 in the country. Shout out to
Sure.
Georgia for
Yeah,
pacing
Georgia's
the
been cranking.
country. That's-
Yeah, they like home runs over there, I hear.
And High Point at
That's
number
who the
2.
other one is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a good school, it's called High Point, man. You're gonna hit home runs. It's just part of it. These are awful, so I'm just gonna read through them. Our research team sucked this morning. Buy or sell that John would be a master of one of the Ninja Turtle weapons in a year if he wanted to be. I don't know where this one came from, but
I'm freaking buying that because I know what you bought in Chinatown.
I was gonna say, I've seen you with some nunchucks, brother. Yeah, I think I could. I'm gonna buy that for sure.
I'm a chucker now because I bought him in Chinatown.
You've been watching YouTube videos, practicing in the garage.
Dude, like I sat there and I'm like, I saw what they've done and I want to just do a simple move. First little move I did, knocked myself right in the rib cage. And I'm like, this sucks. I'm done. It's
Yeah.
like you can train with other weapons to where you're not hitting yourself. Like, but the nunchucks, you're hitting yourself with them.
Would you like Raphael's small little sword?
The Sai, I'd probably be a Sai guy. It's probably my thing. Short range, but fast moving, I guess. I don't know. I was like, what the crap is this? But okay, I'm going to throw it out there anyways. Buy or sell that Curtis's boy will grow up excelling in a sport besides basketball.
I'm buying that because I think he's gonna be a lefty that's 92, 94, slider, change up, maybe starts to develop a little bit of a cutter.
I'm buying it because I think he's not going to do any of that. I think he's going to be an elite level golfer.
Oh,
Golfer. Wow. Okay.
I think he's going to have some. I think he's going to have the power of Michelle, but also the length and reach and swinging ability of Curtis.
power of Michelle.
I don't know.
Known
Like,
for her power, Michelle Wilkerson.
The smooth hips of his old man. So
yes,
Chris, I feel like you do have a good golfer build.
yeah,
it's all right.
Long
can look
arms.
Yeah, stiff in the shoulders though. That's a lot of times that's my problem. But
Maybe if he's a little bit shorter than you, like if he's 6'1",
Maybe so.
6'2", you know what I mean? Like, which I mean, obviously still pretty tall. He could be like a really ideal.
yeah, we'll encourage him to do whatever he wants. But if he winds up being a lefty, I will be pushing the baseball narrative a little bit. I don't want to shove it down his throat to where he resents it, but that's one thing my dad always says to me because I was like a 6'4" lefty, Caucasian in rural Arkansas, and I chose basketball, and he was always like, dude, he should have just stayed on the mound.
Can I tell y'all a story that I forgot to tell this weekend?
Yeah.
This is important though. This is important to end the show with. So I was at my nephew's baseball game the other day and I had missed it. I came a day late. On Saturday in Breaux Bridge, Louisiana, they had an umpire show up drunk behind home plate for a 13U game. Yes. And after one inning, they had to delay the game and get another ump to come, and he ended up calling balls and strikes from behind the pitcher's mound or whatever. But like they had the ump, and he was like, after one out, the first out of the game, he like goes and sits up against the fence. And they're like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, oh, yeah, sorry. I thought it was 3. And then like the catcher said he was like, he could hear him like breathing and he was like sweating, and like they realized after an inning that he was drunk, and they had to get a substitute umpire.
That's
I wish I had seen that at a 13U game.
Yeah, you could have stepped up. You've umpired before. You could have done it.
My hat's sitting right here across the room. My umpire hat. I'll have to watch it, and I can.
You could have been ready for it. And finally, a buy or sell. Andrew would walk to Omaha if it meant the Hogs won it all this year. You would walk to Omaha. Now, this includes
and in his robe.
This Forrest Gump thing. You could stay in a hotel everywhere you walked. Wouldn't have to sleep outside. You'd have food, all of that. But if it meant Arkansas would win it all, you'd walk to Omaha.
Here's why I wouldn't do it. Here's why I'm selling. I think Arkansas has a good enough shot to where I'm willing to just respect just let it play out. Whereas like if I felt like Arkansas had no shot and they were depending on me, maybe I would think about it. But I don't think they're dependent. I think they can just win it through the normal
question, Andrew. That's not the question. The question is it depends on you. You have to walk. If it means winning the title, every Razorback fan counts on you.
If it would literally was that simple, I would definitely do it.
Okay. That's kind of what I was saying.
It would be like now how do I have a set time? Like,
No.
Can it take me 4 months to walk?
Well, yeah, just as long as it's a continuous walk.
Yeah. If I started in February, I think I actually would do that. Let me look at how long it would take me real quick.
I just looked it up for you. It would take you, if you just started walking nonstop, it would take you 9 days and 8 minutes.
Oh,
Oh, easily, dude. So I can do that over the course of a month.
Sure.
Like just, walk a couple miles. No, actually it would take me way longer than a month because I would, it would take me a long time, but I would do it. It'd be actually pretty electric. Plus I would sprint for some of it. I'd get a little jog going.
Trim some of that time off, get some minutes back.
Yep. Man, could you imagine Andrew coming back and he's just like, he has no like fat or muscle on his body at all. He's just of like this big around because he's just been putting in the calories, and his hair is like all the way down to his butt, and just his beard's out here, man. And it was all for the Hogs. It's all for the Hogs. You'd
the last 2
be
days I decided not to stay in a hotel. So I just smell horrible. I probably shit my pants. Like it's just a full on, I'm coming home a disheveled man.
Oh man,
what a champion.
Yep. That's the hero we all deserve. All right, so that does it for that. And I know we went a little over, but we had a really great discussion. But I did want to bring this up with our Alumni Hall question of the day, which we're going to be there live on Friday, folks, starting at noon with some giveaways. And one of the giveaways is actually going to be this right here, a Bombastic T-shirt. So be sure to come and hang out. We'll have all the great stuff that they have available there. There'll be some other giveaways that they will have too, including some hats. And you use that code HOGS20, you get 20% off your purchase. Simple as that. And you can do it at 3417 North College Avenue, where we'll be on Friday at noon. Or you can also shop them online at insidearkansas.com/alumni hall. So the question is, guys, because it became a thing. Coach Cal even put out the picture yesterday, letting everybody know, hey, listen, I know everybody's talking about these rumors going around about me being somebody with a beard, but he decided to post this and let everybody know, hey, there's no beard. He's out there in the hood, walking around with his wife. But either way, should John Calipari bring back the long hair and the beard next season? Where it stands right now, because this is the most important question we've asked all day today. Where it stands right now, 64% say yes. 36% say no. No
Looks
beard.
better with the beard.
I say yeah. I just don't see the downside. You can argue he looks better or whatever, but it's like I love trying things out,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it looks good. I think he should roll with it. I don't think anybody looked at that to be like, oh gosh, disgusting. He looks awful like that. It's like, no, he actually looks pretty refined. He looks like kind of like one of the bad guys in a Quentin Tarantino movie that everyone likes. Like he's got that vibe to him. So he won't do it, but it'd be nice if he actually did. So
we kind of called it yesterday, by the way.
What's that?
We kind of called it yesterday. We were like, there's no way that this hasn't come to his attention. In some way, he's going to address it. And then he did.
True. I died laughing too, because I'm like, at what point was it like that moment his wife is further ahead of him, be like, hey, have you been hearing about this thing with your beard? No? Well, take a picture. Everyone thinks you have a beard. And then you just see Cal go, all right. He takes it like, was it like right then and there, or was it like a lead up to it? Like, what
Where
made
were you, bro?
at that moment? I need to take this picture and tweet it out. I don't know. Just crack me.
His best moments come when he's walking Palmer around random places.
Yeah, dude. I'm from Fayetteville. I looked at that. I was trying to figure out where that was, and I couldn't. I really couldn't. So, also too, real quick, this is big news, guys. North Carolina coach Bill Belichick is at the ACC spring meetings, and he was asked about his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson. He says, quote, "It's off to the side, a personal relationship. She doesn't have anything to do with North Carolina football. I'm excited to be back at college coaching meetings." So,
wait, so they fired her from her job?
She must not have made the trip.
Nope. Just I love it. It's like she has nothing to do with it. Well, she was walking around on the field, my man, and doing some stuff. So,
well, and she did have a job. Like at one point, she was like an employee of he said he had a professional relationship with her. So I guess she's been let go of her from her position. Dude, did y'all hear all the stuff Pablo Torre was saying on the air the other day?
Yeah,
that was some crazy stuff, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
his family's worried about it.
I love it. I'm just glad it's not Arkansas that's having those issues.
They're gonna buy him out and fire him this summer.
Dude, I want to take. I mean, not that I was like the only person, but like I think we all were on the same page. We thought this was going to be a disaster. This is actually worse of a disaster than I maybe thought.
Yep. But we watch him go 10-2 this year, and everyone's gonna be like, man, this it was the one that fueled him. It's the one that got him going.
Do we welcome Shamar Easter back when North Carolina's transfer portal opens up and Belichick leaves? You got 30 days. Come on back, bud.
I like that. I like that. I'm kind of cheering for him to not ever coach a game in North Carolina. I think that's the funniest way for this to end.
Yep. Just like not even do a single thing there in North Carolina. Don't even go through fall camp. Just something like that. He's like, I'm done with this. I'm too old for this. So that would be pretty great if that ended up happening. But either way. But yeah, folks, Friday, come see us at Alumni Hall right there in Fayetteville. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have some cool giveaways and everything. But guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of here?
Shout out to Wyatt Peters. Bun in the oven. Got one on the way. That's big time. Working his way up to the roster, says. So congratulations on that. And folks, consider paying the pig. You have an opportunity to get, some money out of the deal, contribute to the cause. And if you want to hear more about it, go to the Razorback Roadshow.
And we need you to fund this football team, this basketball program. We also need you to pay the salaries for the university. So get to it, guys. Start making a lot of money and give it all to the University of Arkansas. And tune into the Bombastic Podcast. Also, everyone subscribe right now. You are demanded. You have to subscribe to this YouTube channel.
Yes, you have to. It's required by law at this point in time because we're on the up and up, and we're about to hit that 5 figs, and it's going to be pretty great when it happens. And we'll have some details on some of the celebrations we'll have for that too. So, but yeah, and my final thought is, clickbait isn't everything that you just don't agree with. So, went through that last night. I'll be more conscientious of things that I need to title things on and all that. So,
also a question cannot be a bad take.
I'm telling you,
it's literally not a take at all.
I just
particularly when the answer to the question is no.
Like, I just felt like maybe I officially came in old because I thought clickbait was something to where you promote like one thing, but then people see the content and it's not that at all. I thought that that's correct. What clickbait was. I didn't think that asking a question and then us discussing that exact question was clickbait. Apparently so. Whatever. Appreciate you clicking on it though. It does help.
We're not clicking on it because everybody was in there yapping that didn't watch at all.
Yeah.
So
right. Yeah. True.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot to watch.
Your bait needs to be better. If we got to get more clicks, John. I mean, I think you need to go the other way. Go more into the clickbait.
Yeah. I'm just gonna put a picture just of honestly, no context or anything, just a thumbnail of Pittman just looking at the camera. That's
maybe you should let one of us do it until you master your bait.
Wow.
Appreciate everybody listening in and watching into Inside Arkansas, and be sure to subscribe to our channel here at Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page. You can also follow us along on social media at Inside Arkansas, and check out all of our audio version of podcasts where their podcasts are found, whether it's Inside Arkansas Live, the Pod at the Palace, or the Bombastic Podcast. You can also see our website at InsideArkansas.com for all the latest and greatest up-to-date information on all things Razorbacks. So for Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel, tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.